Hi, I'm Mark Toole with 8020service.com. Today's customer service video question of the day is an interesting one from Quora. The question is, do small family businesses or large faceless conglomerates provide better customer service generally? Okay, so this is one of those questions that I see these fairly often. I think someone asked this probably with an assumption in their mind. And that assumption is that people are just going to say small family businesses are better at customer service because big companies don't care. The end. And in fact, the only answer so far when I'm answering this right now is some guy who has worked in supermarkets who said that Walmart got worse after Mr. Sam died in 1971. Okay, so that's the expected answer. Yes, big companies provide much worse service than small businesses, whether it's a family business or otherwise. We're not going to worry about the family aspect of it here, really, because that's not, in my opinion, the most important thing. But the real answer, the answer that I'm going to give here, is going to be that it depends. It depends on the business, of course. There are going to be exceptions in either category. We're going to ignore that for the purpose of this video. But it depends on, say, the customer. What the customer wants, what the customer considers to be good customer service. There's no effective definition of that, necessarily. And there doesn't need to be. But let's look at it this way. If your idea of good customer service is that whenever you want, 24/7, you can pick up a phone and dial a customer service phone number, and yes, you'll have to go through the automated thing that beeps in your ear and makes you press 47 for English and all this other stuff, and yes, you'll have to deal with an NPC reading off a script, reading off a procedures manual. If customer asks about this, do that. But if you consider it to be good customer service, that at any time, any day, any night, any hour of the day, you could pick up a phone and call, and someone will be there to handle your complaints, regardless of how they handle it, regardless of who's handling it. You just want someone to be there for you to scream at or to ask your silly questions or ask a real question or whatever it is. If you consider that to be good customer service, then large faceless conglomerates definitely provide better customer service, because they just hire this out to somebody, some company that does this stuff. They just say, okay, 24/7, that'll be slightly more expensive, budget item, done. Here's the script, have them read off the script, 24/7 support, taken care of. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, if you've read any of my writing on this, you know that conventional NPC-based customer service is not the best way to go for a business. It doesn't really work for customers. It doesn't work for the people working in customer service, if you care about that. It's inefficient, ineffective, and it's just being done that way because it's been done that way, and there are better options now, which brings me to the next category, the small businesses. Family business or otherwise, these companies may or may not have the resources to just hire their customer service out to some giant factory, farm, Bangladeshi call center somewhere. Maybe they are a family business, maybe they're not a family business, but they're personally involved in the thing. They personally have a stake. They personally have some skin in the game, whether it's financially or just emotionally about the thing. And they don't want it to be terrible. They don't want it to be a conventional experience. They don't want people pressing 47 for English and having things beep in their ear and listening to some dummy reading off a script. These are the people who, maybe they follow what I talk about, maybe they've bought my guide, maybe they've worked with me as a client, and they get this stuff right, they keep it simple. Most of their customers in that case are not going to have anything to say about their customer service because most of their customers have never spoken to customer service, and that's the way it should be. But sometimes they have to, and let's just take a fairly common middle-of-the-road example here and say it's a company selling some sort of information product online. Let's say it's a subscription. And they've got, several thousand customers, let's say 10,000 customers, paying customers for this thing at different levels. They've got other people on the free list that are emailing questions and things like that. They have not very many employees. Let's say 1 to 10 people total in the company. Could be one guy running it all himself. He could have a few Filipinos helping him out with customer service. He could have a marketing guy. He could have a product creation guy. Something like this, a small company. In other words, companies like I've worked with, companies like I've run customer service for in the past and continue to do to this day. Now, Do these companies have a call center staffed 24/7 with thousands of people in Bangladesh answering calls and reading off scripts? No, of course not. They probably don't have a phone number at all, or if they do, it's a voicemail that says, hey, leave a message if you want, but no one's going to check this, send us an email, or use the live chat is a better way to do things. So let's say this customer gets up on an email. Let's go with email first. This customer writes an email, and they say, hey, I just signed up for an account and I didn't get my welcome email. How do I access the service? And then somebody replies to them, not instantaneously, not the moment they hit send, an email comes back in reply, but when someone sees it, when someone gets to it, and if it's off hours, if it's the middle of the night, they may have to wait a little bit of time, they get an email back and says, hey, I've taken care of this for you. You can access your account. Maybe that's a simple one. That's something that should be handled by an FAQ or something like that. But let's say, I was charged twice for this service somehow. I don't know what happened there. Please help me out. And a few hours later, that guy gets a reply, hey, Bob, thanks for reaching out. You're right, we charged you twice on that. Sorry about that. We refunded the extra one. You'll see the credit in a couple of days. Now, is that better customer service than if Bob had to pick up a phone and dial the number, and then it rings half a time and goes beep right in his ear, and he's like, oh, fucking thing, and he throws it up in the air and drops it, breaks his new phone, picks it up, has to press 47 for English, but now his screen's broken, so his finger gets all bloody like that dumb commercial. And eventually NPC, I will help you with this today, sir, if you would like me to respond to your customer service inquiry on this day. All that shit. Which of those is better? That depends on the customer. But I think in my opinion, what I help businesses with, what I advise businesses to do, what I prefer as a customer is the second thing. If I have a simple problem, I send a simple email and I go back to my life, I go back to what I'm doing, and I trust that the company that I'm doing business with is going to take care of that. Now, as a customer, I'm often disappointed when I do that because a lot of businesses get this stuff very, very wrong. As somebody in business, companies I work with, customer service for products and services that I sell, it does not work that way. It goes the way it should. Someone gets back to you in a reasonable amount of time, someone with a brain, someone who has fixed your problem, someone who doesn't have to sit in a factory farm call center with a thing plugged into his ear all day, reading the same script all day long. That's mind-numbing work. I've done that work. Nobody wants to do that work, and I can tell you something else. Unless you're a real psychopath, no customer wants to be on the other end of that, have to contact that, have to involve themselves in that in any way. So what I've said here, generalizing, if you want to get general, the smaller family business or other smaller businesses would probably be more likely to provide the kind of customer service that I consider to be good. Something like a large faceless conglomerate would be more likely to provide the alternate side of the coin that we talked about, the 24/7 accessibility, the things like that, which they trade off for intelligence of agents, they trade off for respect for the customer's time. They trade off a lot of things. I'm not going to go into all the trade-offs here, but there are, of course, exceptions. There are small family businesses that outsource their customer service to big Bangladeshi call centers and get exactly the same garbage experience as these big corporations. And there are big corporations, probably not as many, but probably some, who have a more intelligent approach. This does scale, at least to some degree. I don't know how far, to be honest with you. The hugest companies, it may not work. They may not want it to work. They're not watching this video anyways. But it's not just a function of who owns the company. It's not even directly a function of the size of the company, although if you get to massive, huge levels, there are going to be other complications that would have to be taken into account. But that's the explanation behind that. That's why people say small companies provide better service, because they're picturing the old general store and Pa walks out chewing on a thing of straw. Oh, what can I help you for there, son? Get him his can of beans off the shelf or whatever, versus your call is important to us. Please continue to hold for 43 minutes for the next available agent. One of those sounds better to some people, one of those sounds better to other people, and that's, in that case, that's how it's relative. But I think that you know, you've watched this video. You know which approach I think is better. You know which approach I help businesses with. I'm going to wrap this up here. As always, if you thought this video was interesting, useful, valuable, hit upvote. Helps people to see this. Follow me here. Like, subscribe, upvote, thumbs up, all that good stuff. I do these videos every weekday on a customer service question from Quora. I post them on YouTube as well. I also write regularly on business and customer service in response to questions on Quora and on the website, which again is 8020service.com, where I write about the stuff, like I said, regularly with a daily email that goes out, so you can get on the list for that. Otherwise, I'll be back here tomorrow with another video.